So hello everyone in the design. Thank you so much for your patience and for waiting whilst we sorted out those typical technical gremlins that love to join us every week. For those of you who don't know, my name's SJ. I haven't been on a hangout in a while, so you might not know who I am. This is Annabelle. She has never been on a hangout.
I know, it's the first time.
And of course, we have the lovely Elizabeth with us today.
I've never been on a hangout either.
So it's the first time for both. So just to kind of explain, Tom's not here this week. He's sunning himself in Turkey. So yeah, it's all ladies today. So shout out to everybody in the chat. Hello, Deborah. I'm doing well. Thank you very much for asking. Thank you guys so much for your patience whilst we sorted that out. So Elizabeth's joined us today. We're going to be talking about building engaging posts on Instagram. She's going to share her Instagram with us. She's going to give us loads of tips and tricks. And hopefully we're going to have lots of fun and learn loads of new things today. I also want to put a quick disclaimer out there. I did just tell Elizabeth before we went live, but I am 7 months pregnant. For those of you who don't know. And I'm finishing up with Design Cups next week to go on maternity leave. So this is kind of like my final hangout for those of you who didn't know that either. But apologies in advance if I have to run off to use the ladies' room at any point at all throughout this call. Just in case you think, where's she gone? Why she ran off? I'm fine. But I just wanted to let you know in case that looks a little strange. But yes, anyway, that's not why we're here. So just before we jump into the whole screen sharing experience, could you please just introduce yourself for anyone who doesn't know you and give us a little bit of a background as to like how you started and what got you where you are today?
For sure. For anyone who doesn't know me, I'm Elizabeth Gray, but you can call me Liz. It's just easier. I'm kind of known around the internet as the Greater Good. I started posting my work on Instagram, I guess about 4 years ago, and it was more of a hobby. And then it just kind of snowballed from there. I really got more into design, taught myself everything. I didn't go to design school. I actually have a culinary background, and so I just kind of fell into design because I really loved it. And yeah, started posting my work on Instagram, and it blew up, and that's how I'm here. So
amazing. That's like the perfect. That's what everybody wants to happen, right?
Like the dream.
Yeah, like
yeah.
Amazing.
I mean, there was lots of hardships and stuff all the way on the way, but it's like people don't talk about. They're like, it's like, oh, I'm here now, and like that's great. But it was a very long road.
Yeah, how long it takes to get there, exactly. Well, hopefully you'll be able to share some of that with us today. If you guys in the chat have got any questions at all, there is a button at the bottom that says ask the question. So feel free to leave your questions in there. If you do pop them in the chat, we'll try our best to read those out as we go. But leaving in the ask a question section is the best place for it. And we can go through them towards the end of the call if there's anything that pops into your head whilst we're having a bit of a demo. So I think it's time, if you want to share your screen with us.
For sure.
Let's hand over to you.
All right, what would you all like to go over first? Because there's a lot of things we could talk about. The chat or
be guided by you. I mean, whatever you feel is the best place to start, really.
Okay. We could always scroll to the very beginning of Instagram and see the evolution, but that's a ways away.
I love doing this. I have to say, it's one of Tom's favorite things to do. And he'll be very jealous that he doesn't get to see this because he loves it.
That comparison.
But I mean, vacation's great.
Yeah.
All right, because we could talk about, actually like building a composition, something like this. This is more of a mock-up.
Yeah.
One of the really fun things I've done.
Yeah, let us know, where does your inspiration come from? How do you make a start? Is it a long process?
Yes, pretty much always. Everything pretty much starts in my messy sketchbook.
Let me just
got
on so we can
tons of like rough sketches and things like that. Oh, do it again.
Yeah, sorry.
Oh, it's washing out, but lots and lots and lots of rough sketches. Just kind of flesh the idea out. For pretty much anything, I start with just writing out my quote, not like fancy lettering it or anything like that, just to figure out what the most important words are and which ones I want to emphasize in a certain piece. For instance, this one doesn't have a ton of contrast, but the afraid and the brave are the biggest ones. And so, yeah, I will go through those to figure out my hierarchy and the things I want to emphasize. And I'll try to make those the main focus.
Awesome. Yeah.
Another thing I'll do, especially if it's, sorry, go ahead.
Go on, sorry, carry on.
Sorry, I'll make sure I wasn't interrupting. The second thing that I will typically do is, let me look for a specific one, especially if it's song lyrics or something like that, like this one. I like to think about exactly like the artist and what they're trying to say with the song, because a lot of times you can bring that theme into the piece. So like this morning, I was kind of playing around. I've been listening to a lot of Billy Joel lately. So I didn't start the fire because I thought that would be fun. I was like, ooh, you know, you could add some really fun illustrations into that song. And so just taking the phrase, you know, we didn't start the fire, you could emphasize, excuse me, several different things. You could make fire the biggest word. You could make it really, I'll write down a list of adjectives sometimes just to kind of get the inspiration going. You could do, you know, fire, flames, hot, smoking, flowing, all things that you could kind of inject into the piece. And adjectives to like help you choose the styles of letters you want to go for. And I'll try to do this before layout because a lot of times the look I'm going for will influence the type of layout that I'm going to do.
Yeah.
And I wrote down other things, not just like the words from the song, but also, you know, the artist, what era it was in. So it could be kind of retro. The song's about historical events that happened in his lifetime, et cetera, et cetera. I'll just kind of go from there and start to build multiple different layouts. Let's see if it'll focus on it for me.
Yeah, we can see.
Oh, okay, cool. So that's all the notes that I have. And I could try to draw backwards, but then I'll start to go and do different layouts and things like that. And I only started with one, and then once you've picked your layout and the things you like, then is when I would start to focus on the letter style, because that could kind of get in the way while you're just building out like a composition and the shape that you like.
Yeah.
And then I'll pick the letter style, and then I figure out the spacing, and I refine it and refine it and refine it and refine it. And then finally, probably a week later is when I'll share it. So it's a very long process, and it doesn't always happen smoothly. You know, I could start on something and really be loving it and then get to a certain point and I just really don't like it and I really don't feel inspired or like working on it anymore.
Yeah.
And it could be one of two things. You could kind of push past that and like try to keep working on it, or just put it away and pull it back out again when you're kind of getting some new ideas and feeling more inspired to work on it.
I was going to say, do you ever kind of get halfway through and then it's gone in a different direction and then think, okay, I will just not go there and start again?
Yes, if I'm just getting to a point where I'm just upset or I really am not enjoying working on it or something like that, I have to put it away and be in a better headspace and try to feel, you know, more creative and inspired. It's okay to, you know, put something away and pick it back up again later.
And how long would you say you spend sort of even deciding what quote to use or where to even start? Do you spend every single day thinking up ideas, or do you kind of look around for inspiration, or do they just come to you?
I kind of do both. I had a really cool idea in the shower this morning because, you know, it's always when you're not thinking about it, the ideas come. Yeah. So they'll come sometimes when I'm actively thinking, but I feel like a lot of ideas happen more when I'm not thinking about it. Like I'm driving around, I hear a song on the radio and the wheels will start turning. Or, you know, you'll be shopping and you'll see a beautiful pattern on a dress or a bag or something fun. And that will just kind of jumpstart the inspiration trail.
And what do you ever do? Do you ever experience patches where you are like totally uninspired and you are kind of stuck for something to post? Or are you very organized and you don't ever really have a gap?
Oh, I'm not an organized person at all. But what I try to do because I know those times are coming when I'm not feeling inspired. Creativity is very much like this. The highs are really high and the lows are pretty low. So, and there's seasons of creativity. You're not always going to feel super inspired to make amazing things because that's just not realistic. We're all human. But what I do is, again, my messy notebook, the notes app on my phone actually probably has 400 notes. And whenever I'm feeling like a little bit inspired, I'll just write something down to kind of save for the times that I'm not feeling inspired. So I kind of have like a well to draw from.
That's a good idea.
Yeah, that's really helpful. Otherwise, I know people are kind of like, consistency is key, isn't it, when you're posting on social media? And I know, you know, you kind of have to have something planned every week. I often think how far in advance might have to be planned so that they don't ever have a dry spot if they're running out of ideas.
Right.
So that's a really good tip, actually.
And I think the way that the Instagram algorithm has changed as well, it's more important to post your best work than the most work. So it'd be better for you to post once a week and it'd be amazing than to post 2 or 4 or 6 times a week and it's just okay.
Yeah.
So it's like whatever frequency you do, just try to do it consistently. And that can change too, because I used to be able to post 6 times a week and now I'm down to 3 just because my schedule's gotten busier.
Yeah.
So.
And did you feel that you, obviously in the beginning you said that you kind of didn't really expect it, or you weren't doing it for it to blow up as much as it has. So did you kind of feel a lot of pressure to post more, or did you stick to kind of just posting whatever you wanted, whenever you wanted? What point did you kind of feel like, I have responsibility here?
Ooh, I'm not sure if it was, I don't think it was just like when I hit a certain follower count. I think it was when people would message me if I didn't post consistently and they're like, are you okay? Like, have you died? Are you good? You know, just checking in on me and made me realize it's like I have like really the coolest people, the best community hanging out in my corner of the internet, and they really care about me. And this is just, it's something that I like. The art is something that we can all share and talk about, and it's just, it's cool to hang out with it. So
you're just doing it as part of the family, just sharing it for your followers, and that's just naturally the way that it feels for you, right?
Yes, and sometimes, again, in those times where you're not feeling inspired, it really can feel like social media, I've heard it described as like a hungry beast that always needs to be fed, and you always have to be posting and consistent and everything like that. But you're also allowed to take a break, and that's okay. And sometimes it feels really good if you're not feeling inspired, and if you're feeling like, oh, that you just have to post and just try to catch up.
Yeah.
It be a sign you need to take a break.
Yeah, I think a few people we've had on this call have sort of, most people now these days have fairly large Instagram accounts if this is what you guys do. And a lot of people said, you know, don't be too hard on yourself. Like, you're still a human being. You can have holidays and
Yes.
breaks from social media. It's allowed and it's okay.
Yep. And especially if you're feeling uninspired and you take a break from social media, when you come back, you'll have so many new ideas and you will feel so much better.
I'm ready to really pick it up again.
What would be your top tips for someone just starting out? Because starting up an Instagram account for something like design, there's so much out there, and it can be a bit scary going from 0 followers to try and build up.
Probably biggest thing is don't wait until it's perfect to post it, because there's a lot of pressure to have an absolutely perfect Instagram feed, and that everything you make has to be wonderful the first time and you make no mistakes, etc., etc. If I'd waited till I thought my work was perfect to post it, then I probably still wouldn't be posting it.
Yeah. I hate that one. That's a really great tip. I think exactly that, what you said earlier, people just see the finished product. We've had this conversation so many times. People don't realize the work that goes into it, or the thought process behind it, or, you know, even we might think, wow, that is perfect. Whoever's posting that probably could pick a million things out of it and say, well, I didn't like that, I didn't like that, I didn't like that. You know, everybody has their own different opinions, and exactly that, it will hold you back if you just sit there going, oh, I can't post it yet, I can't post it yet, I can't post it yet.
Yeah, I can look back at posts from, you know, maybe last week, and there's things that I wish I'd done differently, or I could start to pick apart my own stuff if I let it. But I try not to have that kind of attitude. It's not good for you. It really, that will not help your creativity at all.
And once it's out there, it's out there. You know, things on the internet will be there sometimes forever. And it's kind of like, you know, you can always go back and say, here's the original post, but this now, you know, round 2, or, you know, a week later, a month later, or 3 weeks later, whatever it is, you know, this was my original post, but now this is what I've done with it, and show the evolution, you know?
Yes, or I dare some of you guys to go look at all my ancient dinosaur posts from 3 years ago and just how bad they were. But something I've done is, scrolled way down and taken something I was really, really proud of at the time and redone it with all the knowledge and everything that I've taught myself along the way.
Yeah.
And it's just kind of like appreciating your past self for the mistakes and like the lessons and everything you've learned, while also being really proud of yourself for how far you've come today.
Yeah. So can you tell us a little bit more about what is it that you feel, or that you've seen with your experience, that makes certain posts the most engaging? Is it about what it says, or the way you present it, or what is it that kind of makes a post engaging for your community?
I will say that it's not always the posts that you personally love the most that do the best, because I feel like, maybe it's just me, but I feel like something that I can put, twice as much work into, and I really love it, and I throw it up there, and it's kind of crickets, and that could be from that could be like a lot of things, or something that I just kind of, not that I just throw things up there, but I didn't spend as much time on it. I'm like, oh, this is fun. I'm not as committed, and I put it up, and everyone's like, oh my goodness, I love it. So it's the response, I think, doesn't necessarily dictate the quality of your work. I mean, it could, but it's also the algorithm, so you have to think about that. But I have found that the most engaging things, I think, are the things that really resonate with other people. Mm-hmm. Talking about, truths, or I talk a lot about my introvert tendencies in a really funny way, or try to, because that's something that held me back for a long time, and I was burdened by the fact that I just didn't like to go out to loud parties and things like that, and everyone else did, and I was like the weirdo because I stayed home and read books. So I'll talk about things like that, but try to do it lightly.
Yeah.
And a lot of people shocked me because they related to that.
Yeah.
And it's not just trying to be relatable. I think it's about sticking to telling your own story, and just something that is important to you and personal to you, and maybe something you're scared to talk about. But chances are there's a few people on the other side of your screen that will really know what you're going through. And that's when you start to build relationships and the community and gather your own people into your own corner of Instagram.
Yeah, so that's what I was going to say. Do you, even still now, do you still just post what you're feeling, or do you kind of think about it a bit more now, or is it still quite natural for you to just post the things that are in your head?
Pretty much. I do tend to think about it more because I do want to keep up with my posting schedule, and again, keep the inspiration well. But I'm sorry, my mind just went totally blank. I need more coffee. But yeah, I said I'm not organized, so I try to post what I'm feeling, and usually I'm creating a post the day of or the day before, and it's just kind of like, how my week is going, how I'm feeling, kind of very in the moment, which is hard because sometimes it's hard to catch up and create content for while I'm on vacation if I decide to do that. But yeah, it's kind of like in the moment for me, very much.
That's obviously what works for you, and your community obviously really love that. So that's really nice and refreshing, because I know some people, I mean, as I told you before we went live, and most of the guys in the chat know I'm not a designer myself. So the people that I follow on Instagram are more like probably fashion and beauty and things like that. And I know that they'll post something that they did 3 or 4 weeks ago, and you think it's happening now, and it's like, God, I couldn't live my life thinking that far in advance. I don't think so.
Yeah, it's
I know what you mean. I can't do that either. And if you can, that is great. And please teach me how to do that. But yeah, that's not the world.
You share that stuff with me.
Share your secrets, please.
So if you want to just come back into sharing your Instagram, as soon as you clicked onto it earlier, the comments started to go, wow, type heaven, pretty, amazing. Could we perhaps just have a little, I'll just focus the screen back on you. Sure. Go through, and maybe you give us like some inspiration behind some of those posts, or a bit of a story behind some of it.
Oh yes, I've got one in mind.
Let us know in the chat, guys, if you can all see that. It's coming across clear for us, but just let us know if you can see the Instagram feed there.
Yes.
Sure.
This was a really cool project for me that I did. I created a mural made out of sketchbooks for an art installation in Salt Lake City called Love Letters, which is a really fun follow on Instagram. There's a lot of letterers that got to be in that pop-up, but
Great.
I'm sorry?
They're just confirming they can see it.
Okay. But the reason I got that sketchbook mural project is because I decided, I think this one is the first one, I decided to create kind of a mock-up of a bunch of sketchbooks on my floor, and that's just a random idea that I had, because I will a lot of times take a picture of lettering. I try to do it in unique places, so it's kind of unexpected. You know, you may not expect to see lettering on like someone's bedroom wall or like their kitchen wall or just like randomly in the frame. So it's almost like an Instagramish photo. Oh, but there's lettering.
Yes.
So
I think that's what makes your feed quite unique, actually, because of the way that you do them, and you're obviously in the photos as well. I presume that for me is really eye-catching, actually.
And that's kind of what I wanted, because I went through a part where I was just, you know, taking photos and doing kind of the standard thing. It was actually pretty much right before this, and I decided to kind of change up the way, because I was sort of boring myself with my Instagram, and that's a good sign where you need to be like, okay, let's kind of switch things up.
Yeah.
Let's do something different. So, you know, I tried to take a cute photo. There's some flowers and coffee and whatever. Just everything's just on my iPhone. You know, it doesn't have to be super complicated.
I was going to ask, do you have someone take your pictures for you?
No.
By yourself?
Okay, let me find my favorite little tool ever. First thing is a tripod, and I've got like a one that can sort of click onto something. So you can see.
I have one of those, and it's got like a light attached to it.
Yes, and then a Bluetooth remote. So a lot of times I will hold this with my feet. I want both my hands in the picture, and I'll just click it with my toes. Because you gotta, I didn't have anyone to take my photos. So I was just like, okay, how am I going to do this? So I just kind of figured it out. And this was, I think, $8 off Amazon. Like, it's not hard.
I ordered it on Amazon. It was a couple of quid. Right. Yeah, Jessie in the comments said skills. That's something you didn't kids.
Falling on a budget, right? You got to do what you got to do. I can't hire a photographer. No. I got to be my own photographer, my own editor, everything.
I was going to ask, because I was looking through your feed, and I thought to myself, obviously at Design Parts we sell mock-ups, and I thought to myself, I have really taken every single one of these myself. They were so obviously realistic because it's a real photo, but I couldn't work out whether that was like you'd use the mock-up or you literally placed every single item yourself. That is like, that's amazing that you've literally done that.
The cat, my favorite.
The sketchbook one?
Yeah.
Oh,
Really
love the
love
cat.
the so perfect. The way that
I did. I was very fortunate with this cat. She is a rescue kitty. Her name is Emmy, but she loves to be involved, and she's very curious. So she heard the camera shutter clicking, and I'm, you know, my feet are off screen. I'm clicking it with my toes, and I'm just holding the pose. I'm like waiting for her to look at the camera. And then she did, and I was like, yes.
Yeah. How many pictures did you take before you got her to look?
I don't even know. Is that bad? Maybe 200?
That's so good. Yeah. I feel like now every time I see you post, I'm going to be trying to work out like where your legs are in the photo. Right. It's hiding.
And this was actually the nice. So we had a very small apartment, and most of it was carpeted. But there's one section of the wooden floor. I think it was like a 6x9. Oops, sorry. Let me move my laptop. I just got the low battery notification.
Oh, no problem.
Okay. Oh no, that's going to be super dark now. Speaking of more technical difficulties. Okay. Is that better?
Yeah.
Yeah. With my nice shelves that I didn't clean. Okay. So we can go back to the Instagram if y'all want. So yeah, for this one, I did lay out all the sketchbooks, but for that section of the floor, it was pretty much a 6x9 of fake wood. So that's all the good photo space that I had.
Wow.
In my apartment, and I just tried to make do. On the very left is my kitchen cabinets, which you kind of can't see because they're out of the frame. and on the very right of this is just carpet.
Wow.
So I only have a small space to work with, which means if I can do it, then anyone can do it.
Yeah, I mean,
nobody would know.
my brain is, I'm like mind blown by this. I'm now thinking, where can I use in my house that I can do stuff like this? Because that's so cool. I just, I couldn't work in that way at all.
No.
So that is, you've inspired me to go home and take some funky photos around my house.
Let me see what you come up with.
So we've just had a question come in, which we'll jump in and ask you. Great work, Elizabeth. Is there anything new, like a skill or a tool or a topic that you want to explore that you haven't explored yet? Amazing question.
Ooh. Well, first of all, hi, hello, thank you. I'm glad you're here. I think I really got into like black letter script while I was at Letter West, which is a very cool lettering conference out in Utah. And I got to see some projects with that. And I've just been seeing it kind of pop up on my feed more and more. So I kind of want to get into older lettering styles. Like I've really been into very much of a modern look, but something more that looks like it was done with like, I think it's like 16th century, like the calligraphy nibs. Yeah. It's got the very, very thin and the very, very thick, and it's very Gothic and structured, but you can make it super like crazy with the flourishes. It looks like a lot of fun. So yeah, I think older styles of letters besides just something modern, you know, switch things up.
Have you tried anything that you would never try again?
Ooh.
Or
I'm very good with paint.
Not for me.
Like watercoloring, like watercolor calligraphy, that was really trendy on Instagram for a while, and I was going to try that, and it just wasn't, I didn't really love it. So not really a fan of that. But I love when other people do it because it's amazing. It's just, I just can't make my brain work with the paintbrush that way. I need a pencil.
I think as well, because of the way your process works, you need to have the kind of sketching bits down first. So it was quite, sorry, I'm just plugging in a charger for us as well. Sorry to stick my head in the camera there. You kind of need that. I feel like you would do that anyway to then go and paint it, right? So it kind of makes no sense for you to just go straight in.
Cut out for a second.
So I feel like with your process, because you like to sketch everything and have everything in your book, you would do that anyway. So even if then you were then going to go and paint it, it would just be on one of your original sketches anyway.
For me, I just need to be able to work out all my problems in pencil. And then the fill-in part with the ink and everything, it's just, that's the fun part. That's the satisfying part. So I don't think it worked for my process.
Do you find it therapeutic when you kind of just sit there and work on your pieces for however long it might take you?
Yes. Sometimes client work can be, you know, a little bit stressful, but I think it's very therapeutic to just sit there with something that's finished and just color it in and listen to music and just kind of like enjoy what I made and just kind of, you know, fall in love with the whole aspect of the craft, from the rough sketches to the, you know, the finished piece, and just enjoy it, you know.
And you mentioned earlier that you do most of your work with iPhone in terms of photos and stuff. Do you think once you've obviously written out whatever it is you're going to do you literally just snap it on your iPhone and upload it to Instagram, or is there loads of editing involved?
I do tend to edit my photos just to kind of color grade them, and the videos as well, just to make sure everything kind of looks cohesive. And I have a secret private Instagram account where I will upload things and make sure like everything looks good next to each other. Yeah. As well, and I don't have, you know, the same photo on top of another photo this way or this way.
Yeah.
So I try to kind of alternate like every other, so there's never, it always is alternating. Yeah.
I know what you mean. I just had another question there for you, but my mind went absolutely blank. This is something that happens quite regularly at this point in my life. Oh, that's really annoying. I had a good one I wanted to ask you. Well, you take over while I think about what's going in my head.
You mentioned when you were working sort of towards a brief for a client.
That's what I was going to say.
Different process.
That's what I was going to say. I was going to say, I heard you mention client briefs there. Could you tell us about that? So well done, Annabelle. Thank you. Oh, well.
You said client what?
Client briefs, client work.
So it's a new process to when you're working towards a client or a particular group.
It's almost harder and easier at the same time, because usually you'll get a brief of exactly what they're looking for, so you don't have to pick out your words or your style, or maybe you do, because it could be a very open brief where they're like, we kind of want this, you know, send us a few sketches. Or it could be like, we would like you to make this specifically. And I think it's sometimes easier in that way, where everything's laid out for you. You don't have to make a lot of decisions that way, but it's harder, at least for me, because sometimes I'll second guess everything I've ever done. And I'm like, why are they hiring me? I don't know what I'm doing. I don't know what sketches to send in, and just kind of have, you know, a little mini mental breakdown. But usually the sketching process solves all that, and then I'll get through it and be like, okay, I'm good, I'm a professional, you know, send the email. And, yeah.
Do most of your clients find you through your Instagram?
Yes, because that's kind of where I started, and I just launched my website the other day. So
yes, congratulations.
Yeah.
Feel free to put it in the chat if you want to put a link to your website in the chat, then everyone can go and check that out.
Sure.
We can have a little nosy as well.
Yeah.
And with the website, I've been working with Tom to launch my email list as well. So I'm building a free resource library, which has some fun resources in it.
Amazing.
And for creatives, it's got an 8-page guide to how to make better Instagram stories, because that is something I really love doing. It's really fun to kind of, you know, chat with my people and hang out with them all day. And it's a really good way to interact with your audience / community more.
Yeah.
So I've got an 8-page guide to that, and I'll be doing more lettering resources. There's things that's going to be added every month, and all my email subscribers get to help me pick what goes in and like send in suggestions. That way I know I'm making things that you guys actually want to have, and
find helpful.
Yeah, like Procreate brushes, or if you need help like with a specific lettering app or something, that way I can make things that I know that are helpful.
That's so cool. I obviously do work quite closely with Tom, and he'll always get off of the calls that he has with, you know, yourself and others in the industry, and he'll always come into the office and he'll be so buzzing because he'll be like, that was such a great call, and she's going to do this, and this is going to be really exciting, we're going to try this. And I just love, you know, the conversations happen, but I love when they then go live and then we can see them and we can join in on the excitement, because it's all like Tom gets all the exclusives and then we get to see the final product. I just, when, you know, when things launch and processes start and you do courses and things like that, I'm like, yay, like we get to see it all fall into place and just watch the magic happen. I really, really enjoy that part of working with you guys.
Yes, and it's so much fun, and I've loved, you know, meeting everyone through email, and all the calls with Tom have just been so encouraging, because I've known for the longest time that I have to have a website. What if, you know, Instagram goes down tomorrow and I've built this community and they can't find me? You know, I have to have not a rented space of land.
Yeah.
I have to have my website. So I finally got that done. I finally got the email list done, and I know I wouldn't have gotten it done because I'm a terrible procrastinator, honestly. And Tom he really pushed me, he really encouraged me, gave me the tough love that I needed to actually get it done. So that's super grateful for him and for the Design Cuts team and just everybody.
I've had a couple of comments come through. They've obviously just checked out your website chat. Love your honesty. Website is beautiful. So I know if you're ready, you are smart.
Thank you for signing up, Angela.
We've had another question come in as well. So I'll take that one.
Ooh, Zay is asking, have you worked with colour before? And is that something you might consider if not?
Sorry, I didn't hear the first part of that question.
Have you worked with colour much before?
Ooh, I have, but it's not what I love to do. I will do it for client projects and things like that, and sometimes just for fun. But I just really love black and white work and a monochromatic color palette. So, you know, I'm not a color expert. I just like black and white.
I feel like as well, because your theme is so strong, like you've nailed it with, I say a theme, it's not about a theme or how you're feeling specifically, but I feel like, how would you incorporate color now? It go to one extreme to the next, or you have to like subtly every post just sneak a little bit in there, maybe.
Yeah, kind of how I'll transition from different seasons and stuff. So like for fall, this is like silly Instagram stuff, but it works because you'll look at the feed and it kind of just flows. I'll work in like little bits of color
Yeah.
for fall. Like I'll start to incorporate maybe a little bit of orange here, or like a tiny bit of red, and then it just kind of can get more into the photo as the months go on, and it's not just a jarring change, you know?
Yeah, I suppose if you do your own mock-ups and you lay everything out in your own settings, you can sneak things in using the objects around you rather than having to put it into your work. But it still gives your feed a really nice switch up if like you say, you're going into a different season or whatever. You can bring it in that way rather than in the lettering itself.
Yes, and a lot of my photo styling and things like that, I'm like, what am I going to surround my lettering with? I was like, oh, you know, with the pillows from the couch, or the throw pillows on the bed. I've got a blanket in a basket over here, knitting needles from a project I was working on, pens and pencils and things that are kind of related, but also just like random things in my house to fill out the frame.
Do you have just a random question? We've had another question come through, but this is just a simple question that's popped into my mind. When you take everything out that you want to use for your do you put everything back, or do you kind of just like leave it around in case you need it again?
Sometimes I'll leave it just in case, because I need to go, you know, pull the phone out of the tripod and check through to make sure I have one that's like lined up, or that I'm not like making a weird face or something in that I want to post. And I'm totally bad at this. A lot of times I'll leave it out because, you know, it's the middle of the afternoon and I need to post
a lot
before it's too late.
Yeah. To have to put that away every time, I think I just leave it there, to be honest.
And what y'all don't even see is all the stuff outside of the frame, because like, oh, I don't like that color blanket with those things. So I have like a pile of blankets to the side and a bunch of things that I didn't use, as well as all the stuff I did use. I'm just sitting on the couch editing my photo, ignoring the problem until like my husband texts me and he's like, I'm on my way home. And then I'll clean it up as fast as I can. Yeah.
I would be exactly the same as you, I feel.
Yeah. Very human.
We have had another question. So is, I've seen your window mural on your website. Have you done many large-scale installations, and do you enjoy doing them?
Ooh, that was actually the first one I've done, so a lot of research went into that. I really did enjoy doing that. I think I need to figure out a better method of getting the paint on the window as opposed to just using a marker, which did work and it was a fun texture, but it took a very long time. So, I mean, it's all trial and error. It's like, okay, that was a pretty good experience, but I learned from it. I can now hopefully make it better the next time. So, research time.
Do you have the temptation to just like draw on all of the walls in your house?
Kind of, yeah. Actually, this fall, in my office, I was thinking about what I'm going to do on that, and maybe I'll share some sketches on my Instagram stories later. But I have like all the kind of ideas, which I was washing dishes this morning, and I started to get ideas for that when I wasn't technically thinking about it. So
yeah, I was going to say, knock them up on, you know, walls or the floor or whatever. I'd be like, why don't I just put it there?
Exactly. I think it'd be cool to have a big actual painted wall, and it would give me good experience, you know, for future murals and stuff like that. It's not like I painted a wall in my house, I can paint one in your business.
That's it, exactly. Yeah. So Angela's just asked, and this is a great question for anyone who is on the same kind of lines of your line of business. What is your favourite paper and eraser? And I guess to add to that, you know, pens and pencils as well. Do you have like go-to brands, or can you recommend what kind of you found works nicely for you?
I would say if you're just starting, don't let, you know, your hunt for a specific kind of paper kind of stop you from starting. Like I use printer paper still. And I started with a piece of printer paper from my mom and dad's printer because I was over at their house and I was just like, oh, like I kind of want to like draw these lyrics to a Ned Sheeran song. So like I did it. So you can start with just printer paper, a pencil, whatever. I really like a mechanical pencil for sharp lines and like more precise sketches.
Yeah.
I really like fine point pens, like the Pigma Microns from Sakura and the brush pens and like the Graphic One. I also really like a good gel pen because when you're filling in letters, it can get like the ink can really flow really well if you know you make sure the tip is clean and you're just kind of like going and it'll flow. So that is really, really fun. And also gel pens, if you want to kind of layer colors, like especially black and white, they'll layer on top of each other really well.
Gel pens just, and this might show my age, but gel pens to me throw it back to like school and you can get sent to school. Yes. I don't know if that's a UK thing or if everybody else had that.
I had such
I was
a collection.
hoarder.
I had many.
I think I had one in every sense.
Yeah.
And I would weekly, like every weekend as a school kid, like save up my pocket money, go to the local stationery store and like get a different smell or I'd say flavour, we couldn't eat them, but get a different smell like every week. And then we'd go to school and it'd be like, oh, what smell have you got? Like, come on.
Scented markers, everything. And yeah, I was the one who'd get in trouble because I would do, my notes in gel pen. You're like, you have to do it with like not like red and orange and yellow and green and everything.
Even now though, like if I'm learning or taking notes in the office or whatever, like the way my brain works, I have to have things in different colours because it will highlight to me like important stuff, or if it's like a traffic light system, I'm like, I love colour. If you give me a spreadsheet, I will make it the most multicoloured spreadsheet you've ever seen in your life. And that's just, my brain just works really well with colour. I have to have that to help me get by.
Yes, it helps with organization. Like for sure, I'll organize, all my different email inboxes and all my tasks with color. So that's what I use color. Yeah, I do use it sometimes.
That's amazing. Well, we are unfortunately having to finish up. I know it was slightly short today, and that's just really sad because the technology hated us all. But we can definitely do this again. I'm sure we can get it figured out better next time, and we can do it. So for those of you who wouldn't have known this, we were going to share Elizabeth's iPhone, and we were going to do, a slightly different screen sharing experience. So we've had to kind of go with what we have today, but I am sure we can get you back on and we can figure it out and we can give it another go. I know that we'd love to have you back. I'm sure everybody in the chat would love to hear more from you.
We are definitely going to go and check out your website.
Absolutely.
Cannot wait to see that.
Can't wait. We'll be waiting for the new things to launch on there. So huge thank you for joining us. I'm sorry it's slightly shorter than usual. And again, thanks everyone in the chat for your patience with us today. The hangout will be back same time next week. Tom will still be on holiday, so it will be with our creative director, Matt. And I unfortunately won't see you guys probably now. So I will wish you all the best of luck. This is really strange because I'm like, I haven't quite thought this far ahead yet. But yeah, thanks everybody. Thank you very much, Elizabeth, for your time. And we'll see you guys all soon.
Thank you very much.
Thanks for having me. Bye.
Bye.